Have you ever looked around and wondered why your life seems stuck in the same place? Maybe you have goals, ambitions, plans, but somehow months pass, then years, and nothing really changes. Most people think the biggest force shaping their future is their own motivation. It isn't. The people around you are quietly deciding who you become. And the strangest part? They're usually doing it without saying a word. Here's what I mean. Imagine two friends who both want to get in shape. One spends every weekend with people who exercise, talk about health, and challenge each other. The other spends every weekend with people who joke about diets, order takeout, and treat exercise like punishment. After a year, who do you think changed more? The surprising answer is that neither person needed more discipline. They simply absorbed the standards of the group around them. But this raises a bigger question. If other people are influencing us that much, how exactly are they doing it? The answer is hidden in something psychologists call social norms. Most of our decisions don't come from deep personal reflection. They come from looking around and asking a silent question. What do people like me do? If everyone in your circle reads books, reading feels normal. If nobody does, reading feels unusual. If everyone saves money, saving feels responsible. If everyone spends recklessly, saving feels strange. Human beings are imitation machines. And that's where the real trap begins. Because influence isn't strongest when it's obvious. It's strongest when it's invisible. Think about a fish swimming in water. The fish doesn't notice the water because it's everywhere. In the same way, you rarely notice the beliefs constantly surrounding you. You simply start treating them as reality. And that leads to an uncomfortable question. What if some of your limitations aren't actually yours? Consider a student who grows up hearing, "People from our neighborhood never become successful." Nobody locks him in a room. Nobody physically stops him. Yet that sentence can shape hundreds of future decisions. What jobs he applies for, what risks he takes, what dreams he allows himself to imagine. The cage exists long before he sees the bars, but it gets even stranger. Because the people limiting you may genuinely care about you. A friend might discourage your business idea because they're worried you'll fail. A family member might question your goals because they want you to stay safe. The intention can be love. The result can still be confinement. And that creates another question. How do you know whether someone is protecting you or shrinking you? Here's a simple test. Pay attention to what happens when you talk about growth. Do people become curious, or do they become uncomfortable? When you mention learning a new skill, starting a project, moving somewhere new, or chasing a difficult goal, some people respond with excitement. Others immediately list reasons it won't work. Not because they've studied the situation, because your growth challenges their view of what is possible. Your ambition becomes a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see reflected back. Now here's the twist. Most people never expect. You don't become the average of the people around you because they force you to. You become the average because belonging feels safer than standing out. Humans evolved in tribes. For thousands of years, exclusion could mean death. So even today, our brains constantly seek approval. That's why someone can spend years in an environment that makes them smaller while believing they're making independent choices. They're not choosing comfort, they're choosing acceptance. And once you see that, a new question appears. Can you change your future without changing your environment? Sometimes. But it's incredibly difficult. Imagine trying to walk north while 10 people gently pull you south. You might make progress, but every step costs more energy. Now, imagine surrounding yourself with people already moving north. Suddenly, the same goal feels easier. Not because you changed, because the current changed. This is why a single mentor, friend, colleague, or community can alter the direction of an entire life. One person can introduce a standard you never knew existed. One conversation can make a bigger future feel normal. And normal is powerful. Because people rarely rise to what is possible. They rise to what feels possible. So before asking where your life is going, ask a different question. Who is quietly shaping the answer? Look closely at the conversations you hear every day, the attitudes you absorb, the expectations surrounding you. Because the most important sentence in this video is this: the people around you don't just influence your choices, they define the limits that feel real. And once you recognize the bars, something remarkable happens. You realize they were never made of steel. They were made of assumptions, which means they can be broken. The moment you choose a better environment, you don't just change your circle. You change the person that circle allows you to become.